You're saying like what we have as.
I don't know. He just told me they want the clean version. I don't exactly know what that means. That's what I thought, but
Something's working now because we have
Okay.
transcription.
it's working now.
Off button just need to be off longer
Good to know.
till the lights went up.
Testing. Come on.
Check, check.
Hello. All right. Are we good to start, Angela and Scott?
I
Will...
think so. We're recording.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the City of Sweet Home Park Entry Committee meeting. And I'd like to call this to order. I'm filling in for Wally Shreves today at the last minute. And let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Angela, you want to walk us through our roll call?
Member Northern,
Here.
Member Patton,
What? Oh, I didn't hear.
are you here?
Here.
Member Tucker,
Present.
Member Bechtel,
Present.
and Scott, we're unsure of yet. And Wally is out, and we'll discuss Bob at the end of the meeting. So, but he is also not here.
All right, time reports for the month of May up until now. So if you have anything, please get that into Angela. And I do have some time I need to, if I haven't sent it to you, I will. Just spending time with the guys out looking at the trees.
Okay.
So I'll get that to you. And everybody should have a copy of our meeting minutes from our May 21st meeting.
Just a heads up, there will be a couple amendments to it. There was some miscommunication. The only thing that are changing is Lena's title on there and Bob's title on there will be switched.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
so there will be amendments to it. So when you approve it, just approve it with amendments.
Yes, Bob Dalton's technically the vice chair, not me. Everybody had a chance to look through the meeting minutes?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the amendments.
I second it.
It's been motioned and seconded that we approve our May meeting minutes. All opposed? Or all in favor?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm backwards. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we have approved meeting minutes for May. Good reference material. And now we have public comment. Is there anybody online? No, okay. So we'll move on to Candy and our beautification committee update. And there is a handout in our notes here for beautification meeting minutes from the 8th.
Not very loud.
Okay,
There you go.
okay. Yeah, we weeded on May 27th. We had 8 volunteers and that was fast. It only took an hour. And then on June 10th, we had 7 volunteers and that took an hour and a half to 2 hours. We are not going to weed on the next scheduled time in the median, which is June 24th. We're going to do the outline, the entry areas we're going to weed there instead. And I just decided that we're going to weed the median on June 1st. So we'll have it all nice for Sportsman's Holiday. And the reason being, I was the only one that showed up at our meeting last time. So I made the decision that that works for me the best. So that's when we're going to meet. And then we won't meet on the 8th to weed because that's so close to Sportsman's Holiday. So I'm a little concerned. I've got some people that have kind of, it's hit or miss whether they come in and volunteer or not. So hopefully we can get enough people to make it so that we don't have to spend 2 hours down there, because that's a long time for anybody. So. But they're looking good. The medians are looking really good, I think, and the flowers are doing well. So I thank the Public Works for getting all the water out to the flowers.
So that'll be July 1st,
Yeah,
first
July
Tuesday.
1st. And the weeds, that first time they weren't bad, but last time there were just a lot of little this and that's everywhere. So
And you're gonna send a reminder out,
yeah,
because I know Ashley couldn't be at the last one, so she felt really bad.
that's okay. I know everybody can't make it all the time. So
It's looking good out there. Thank you.
It is.
Thank you, Public Works, for the work on the water lines. Okay, we ready to move on to old business? Okay. First item is the safety fair, which is this Saturday already. So we are set to show up and support and participate and pass out information and talk about safety and be safe. What time, we need to kind of decide what time we need to meet. I think the safety fair starts at 9. So for setup, y'all want to meet there about 8:15, 8:30? Sound like a good,
Not 8:30. Probably closer to 8,
probably
8:15.
closer to
Yeah.
8:15. Okay. Wally's got a pop-up. He'll bring all,
That's what I was gonna ask, if you need a pop-up, because it's supposed to rain.
I know, that's the thing. It's supposed to rain. So he said he'd bring his pop-up. So I'll just grab our tote and our handouts and our tablecloth and our banners.
Okay.
From you before I leave today.
Okay.
And then
And everybody should bring a chair.
bring a chair, bring your Parks jacket because it's supposed to rain.
Summer.
So, park maps, we need to look at how many we have left after our Arbor Day event to see if we,
Okay.
because those are always a good handout. I know we have plenty of Frisbees to hand out. I don't think we came up with any new ideas for games or activities, but we're one of many booths there. So there'll be lots.
And they'll have a lot of, they do
activity.
the little bike
Yep.
obstacle course, and they do a lot of different things. So
Yeah.
considering the rain, maybe
It's
things undercover.
yeah, things undercover type of day. So we'll probably be all right. Who all is gonna be able to come?
I will.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Looks like we will all be there. It'll be fun.
That's right.
So. And rain, that'll
Ew.
be,
Not fun, but
well, yeah,
Oregon.
I know, but it's needed, so. Okay, anything else for the safety fair? We're good for that?
So we're not gonna do anything else. I know the mayor said Wally was gonna contact us to see if we had any ideas, but we didn't. No ideas.
No, I was trying to.
Angela said there will be.
Yeah. There's always a lot of activities going on. I think I came up with a scavenger hunt, but that
Mhm.
takes a little bit to plan. Maybe we take the scavenger hunt idea for another park activity down the road.
Mhm.
So, I think we'll be fine. We always have a lot of kids. Oh, and usually they come by with their safety passport, and there's still the little stamps in the tote. So at least I saw them last month. So
That's cool.
So that we've got that to do as well. Okay, good. Well,
Do you know, Angela, you're not in charge of this one, it's the police department? Do they know where we're gonna be? Or do we know where we're gonna be?
You'll have to ask Sean Morgan.
Okay.
I know they came and are using the map that I use for Harvest Festival. So they'll be mapping out booths and whatnot. And I think they're working on that right now. So
Okay.
I'm sure he'll reach out at some point.
just making a note so I can make sure either Wally or I will get in touch with him and make sure we have a space marked out. My guess is we're all gonna be kind of gathered around the plaza. Sidewalks. Although there've been a lot of folks there in the past, right?
We were on the sidewalk, not the sidewalk, but
Out into the
Yeah.
park, yeah, okay, all right.
it's really grown since it was at the police department. Got really big.
Yeah, it's nice to have it in the park
Mhm.
instead of just all on pavement, so that'll be fun.
I know Sean mentioned last year that they were hesitant to move it to the park, but they are very glad that they did. So they weren't sure what the attendance would be, but I went last year and it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
That was good.
okay. Thanks, everybody, for helping out with this one. Next up is ivy removal. That is Deb's favorite topic. Do we have any updates from Public Works, targets?
So we have a bit of a question.
Okay.
Somebody has marked a bunch of trees with white paint. And so we're just wondering if any of you know anything about that. So the guys are out and there's a whole bunch is it Upper Sankey and the trail?
Wow.
Yeah, South Hills Trails, Upper Sankey,
Like marked with an X or
white circle.
a white circle?
Uh-oh.
We were
Every-
thinking it
every-
might be the high school, timber class, but school's out, so I don't know.
That's weird.
I have not marked any trees.
Another form of graffiti.
And I think it's kind of looks like an intentional marking. not
Yeah, it's like a counting marker. And there's no rhyme or reason. There's no ivy on some of the trees, maybe a little bit of ivy on some of them. So that's why I was first thinking. So,
No.
and I'm hoping that it's chalk paint.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, then it's running down the tree. I've got a couple pictures I can show you guys later.
And it's not like a locate mark or anything,
It's a dot, right?
just a
Face
dot.
high, dead center, about 2 inches in diameter.
Wow. Do the cameras show that?
No,
area?
n-
No.
well, up there it won't. There's no cameras.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was just a question to see if any of you knew anything about it, because none of us know anything about it. So
No.
Blame Wally because he's not here.
Ollie was marking a trail.
I think he would tell us if he was gonna do
Yeah.
that.
So, okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I was curious as to, I think we should have a work day or two sometime this summer. I don't know what happened to our,
There you go.
we were supposed to have, that area was supposed to get sprayed or something in the fall. It never happened. I don't know why. Does anybody recall that? Besides me?
Yep, that was one of the things that if we got the right weather conditions, anything that we cut could be sprayed in the fall, and that helps reduce the ivy amount. You had suggestions for where to go for a work day? Were you talking
Yes.
South Hills Trail?
Yes.
Okay.
Going between 16th and 10th.
South Hills
Six-
Trail.
16th and what?
And 10th Avenue.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good start.
And Public Works, do you guys have any suggestions for us on ivy?
I think as of right now, we've been relying on cutting it off the trees and keeping it off the trees. I mean, that's the focus.
Okay.
I don't think I think we'll spend a lot of money if we spray, but I don't think we're gonna be able to eliminate it.
Right.
So how do we keep the ivy on that bank and not on our trees? I think we focus on the trees. We can talk to Santiam Spray, and maybe get some advice, but we're gonna have to do something. That's a lot of ivy to mitigate. And to get that to kill off and then replant something, it's gonna take time. And I was gonna talk about some restoration that has begun on the other side of Sankey Park later in this meeting. Kind of that same analogy. So I'll kind of expand on that during that moment. But it would take a couple of years and aggressive spraying and an aggressive blanketing to really make some impact on that. And it would be a cost associated with that. It's not like you can just go out, put some spray down. It'll keep coming back. It's probably worse than the blackberries. So those are just my thoughts. I know your wheels are spinning, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, the manual cutting and pulling the ivy off the trees, I mean, it's working. In some of the areas we've covered, I've seen old evidence of, clipping the ivy at the base and that stuff has died and new stuff has grown up. But, I think kind of doing it en masse here in the last 2 to 3 years, we've kind of put a dent on how much it's getting up in the trees. So it works.
Especially in Sankey.
Yeah, especially in the more.
Until I
visible.
started walking the South Hills trails and realizing how much we down there.
Yeah. Okay. I think some work parties would be good. I also think our plates are right full here, getting ready for we've got a
Yes.
safety fair, and then in July, we haven't even talked about our
Health fair.
August. Yeah, we haven't talked about those events. So
It's not
we've
on
got
here.
2 events in July that we need to talk about
Okay.
in new business. So let's kind of think about the Ivy
Okay,
and think how we work that in around everything else.
sounds like a plan.
But I think you've mentioned before, South Hills Trail would be like your priority since we've done quite a bit in Sankey.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So speaking of Sankey, we have an update for phase 3.
We do. We are making progress with the Timber Framers Guild. We might have found a solution to get through our procurement process so that we can bid the bandstand and the trails, not necessarily separately, but we can award the nonprofit separately from the trail itself. So we are working on that. We will be having a meeting with them fairly soon because we have to get together. They're going to give us some ideas for a design and some things that they have done and then go through kind of the examples of how this all works. So,
Oh, nice.
and we might possibly be able to get something done this year.
That
So,
would be
I mean, the
fun.
trail, I don't think will get done by the end of this year. I have been told by the grant funder that we can get a 6-month extension, but that means that we would have to be done by the end of next June. But if we can get the bandstand done this way, then we can concentrate on the trail and get that figured out. So,
Yeah.
so we're working on it. We're trying to get the entire thing completed. So.
Okay. Is there a point where, our group could join in with the Timber Framers Guild?
Eventually,
Please.
what they
And
do
learn more,
is,
yes.
yeah, what they do is once we determine what the scope is going to be and how that works, we will have to put together the costs. And then it has to go in front of city council. One of the things that they do, part of theirs, it's a community build is what they call it. And we will reach out to locals for, possibly help with timber or, the rock for the base. Or what they do is they bring together the volunteers and possible donations from the community. They also, which I think is pretty cool, just talking to them and reading there, they will come in like in a week. There's some prep that they have to do first, like treating timbers and whatnot. So before the project starts, there's a bunch of leading up to stuff. But
Yeah.
once we get to that point where all the materials are ready, they will come and actually camp here and we feed them and the community comes together and helps put it all together. So community, some of the volunteers that can't actually do, they have to have the engineers and actually certified people to put the structure up.
Yeah.
But it's a huge community kind of project
Yeah.
that they get the entire community involved in. So it's a pretty neat project. They've got some different, one of the structures I've actually seen that they built that I didn't know they built is in Idaho. It's at Catherine Albertson Park, and I've seen it. It's a beautiful structure. They have some great ideas, and I think this not only will be great to get the bandstand up, but I think it's going to be a pretty good event for the community
Yes.
itself. You know,
Yeah.
just getting, so when we get to that point to where we actually get to move forward, reaching out to community members, we're probably going to need a little help with that. You know, we'll get the list of things that we need, and then we'll reach out to community members to see if they're willing to contribute to the project. So we're not at that point yet, but we're
Okay.
hoping to get to that point soon. So
That's actually exciting.
Mhm.
And I agree. I think that'd be such a fun community event. Barn raising.
Yes.
that's what I keep calling it.
Yeah.
So I keep calling it a barn raising, but
Oh, yeah.
but that's what it reminds me of when I look
uh-huh.
at the pictures on their brochures and whatnot. That's what it reminds me of. So
We can have potluck and
Yeah.
feed everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fun. Okay, thank you. Thank you for finding that.
Mhm.
Good ideas. Okay, Weddell Bridge, our other project, long-term project.
well, Wally's not here, so
And Wally's not here, and sorry, I did not get an update from
I didn't. I kind of
Yeah.
forgot. So we'll
We'll
table
have
that the
to,
next
we'll
week.
table that next week.
And
next-
it is still closed. It's been locked up because of vandalism, probably now for 2 weeks,
Oh,
maybe
so, yeah.
2.5 weeks.
So if we had worse vandalism?
Actually, we haven't had any issues. Usually when we lock it up, we've had other issues in the park, and for the most part, maybe school ending has
Yeah.
maybe helped with that. So talking with Sean, I think maybe we want to open up the park side at least, because we've had a couple calls where people show up literally in the last week where they want to come take pictures,
Oh,
but they can't get in. And so maybe it's just our decision, but I'd like to maybe open up the park side and we'll monitor it and see how it goes. But we're still being cognitive about kids and vandalism and other things, so.
next item is Northside and Evergreen Park trees update. So unfortunately, we lost our elms at Northside. And I still think drought is probably the bigger issue at play in them. There is possible they have a disease in their roots, but I have not gone out there to dig up the base of the trees and really take a look. But I didn't see signs of a wilt disease in the stem when I peeled the bark and did all that. And I talked to a couple urban foresters and the ODF community forester, and we kind of went through it. And drought can really be, it doesn't just happen in 1 year. Drought in trees, you just see different signs of it, and the tree is struggling, and it could be a culmination of a few years. But the good thing is we have some solutions. We are going to try the water bags that go around the base of the trees. They hold 20 gallons of water. The bottom of it's like a tarp-like material, pretty heavy duty, is perforated with the idea that you're watering the tree once a week with 20 gallons of water. It trickles out, takes about a 24-hour period of time. So it's a long, deep soak, which is really the best for our newer trees. And we have those on Sankey Park trees, our new trees, including the dog Molly's tree, because that one was struggling a little bit last year. And we're actually going to put them on 2 of the maple trees at Northside that have some flagging in the very top of the trees. Flagging meaning, last year the leaves were scorching and dying out. And when you think of looking at a tree, and if the top is dying first, if it's a drought issue, the tree doesn't have the capacity to push water all the way up through the top of it. So one of those maple trees looks great. So with our irrigation methods up there, it's been getting enough. The other 2 on the west end or east end, I think they've been struggling a little bit. So we're going to try the water bags on those and see if giving them copious amounts of water for a long, deep soak will help with that. But basically, with our trees, planting new trees nowadays, with the unpredictability of our weather and rainy seasons, we really should plan on trying to give them some good watering for their first, 3, if not 4 years of life after we've planted them. I am glad we planted our Arbor Day trees in early March this year because, yeah,
Yeah.
by April it was dry. So, and Scott was nice enough to meet with me and we went out to Sankey and talked about the benefits of long, slow watering for trees. And we talked about the tree water bags. My idea is hoping that public leaves the bags alone and kids don't mess with them. And here's why we're doing them. So doing a little bit of education. And so I think that article should be out. Today's Wednesday, should be out in today's paper. So
When we went to movies in the park, I pointed out to my family of little kids. And that's what those were. They said, what? I said, yeah, they're watering those trees.
yep. And so hopefully, it's easy to use and convenient for the guys. We do need to take them off come winter because in winter you don't want that tarp material to hold all that moisture so close to the bole of the tree. So we'll take them off, dry them off and reuse them for next year. So the Leyland cypress, remember we did a row of those cypress out at Northside? Those things look great.
Yeah, they do.
Those things, they look at drought and they go bring it on.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, they really are
They
doing well.
look good.
Yeah, so guess we have to choose non-finicky trees. We do have our vouchers that we can use to look at replacement trees for Northside in winter. We're going to get something and plant it in the middle of the deepest, darkest, wintry, rainy day. To get our
I think
trees.
too, we should probably plan for that so we have an idea
Yeah.
of how many we're gonna need. I mean, look at Evergreen. I think there's probably one that might need to be replaced or
Yeah, I want to
So-
watch Evergreen.
I think maybe this summer, let's get a count and then make
Yeah.
a planning of the species and then we can
Yeah.
do that.
I do have the Oregon white oak that was donated at our Arbor Day event, which is a nice size age oak with a really good root ball because it's in like a 20-gallon bucket. That actually is a good tree to put out there at Northside, sorry, just because we have some oak out there. It's a nice big wide open space and oak are actually fairly drought tolerant after they get established. So I'll reserve that one to put out there. But I think we also need to get some type of traditional shade tree. I'm hesitant to put an elm back in just in case we have a what's called a wilt disease because it's in the soil. And so some trees are resistant to it. So I'll do some research on that. And then I'll holler at Sean and, one of these days we can kind of dig up the root system and see if I can see anything. But I doubt it. So, bummer. But I think we're probably more prepared and more aware now than maybe we used to. It used to be, I just remember we'd plant trees all over the place. We never watered them, we'd bring a few buckets in the summer, but when you look at all the really nice maples, and there's actually some ash along next to the post office there, those were pretty big trees we put in along the streets. And yeah, we did those probably in April, and we haven't had issues with them. So, our weather systems are definitely a little different in terms of making sure our trees get well watered. So, that's enough about trees.
Well, we've learned a lot about trees from you. Yes,
We've
we
learned a
have.
lot. We've learned a lot about tree care and tree pruning. And I think we're a lot more cognizant about watering needs with our weather and our hot weather periods. So thanks, everybody. Okay. Here comes the big work, new business.
Yeah.
So we talked about doing a sportsman's holiday parade float. And you said Wally talked to
Well,
the
he
chambers?
did.
Okay.
But he also had said that as we did last time for the cut the gut, we wanted us to vote on it to see if
I thought we
If
voted.
everybody was interested in it. Everybody was interested in it.
Did we
Nancy, can you
vote
touch your microphone?
last meeting?
Huh?
Your microphone.
Oh, but it, I don't think we voted it on it. We brought it up and we were gonna look into it. And I know he did, because he told me he did. Went
Okay.
to the chamber and, because my thought was, that we do it. He has a big trailer and a truck and, decorate it with a couple benches and flowers and get some city council if they wanted to be on it. Because in a lot of parades, because I go watch a lot of parades, we always have representation from the cities. And I think would be important that we could do that. Some people don't know who anybody is. They just know that that they make rules and different things like that, but it'd be good representation. So have the beautification committee on there too. His trailer's pretty big. And then we have the banner, Tree USA banner, and just some of us walk out front. Everybody's quiet.
Everybody's quiet. So I remember at our last meeting, Wally talked about maybe improvising a small teeter-totter and having some small children on our float rather than us old people promoting parks.
Well, I'd
So
like
you
to,
have kids you can bring.
I can
think
walk- I wanna
Candy
walk
has
it.
some grandkids.
I have my grandkids and they're going to be here that weekend. They're from
Okay.
Salem, but this would be an opportunity for them to be in a small town parade, which they
Okay.
kind of were excited about. But,
Okay.
and then I was thinking maybe the flowers that are in front of Public Works, those 2 baskets you could use on the float. Do you think, Greg, that would be okay?
Okay.
I will not stand.
Okay, because
Okay.
those,
I would help with that.
yeah. Those are nice. And the only thing is, if there's a teeter totter, it needs to be safe.
Yeah,
Hold
that's-
that down.
I don't want
So
them falling off.
Yeah.
They're not that young. They're 9 and 11, so they're good age for it.
and a
They're
lot,
young enough to do it, and once they get a little bit older, they won't want to do it anymore.
and a lot depends too, how you have to stop and go, and the truck is jerking and different things like that. So, Aaron, do you think anybody on council would like to ride with us?
Aaron,
Possible. I know, like for me, I already committed to Rotary, and then we also have softball that weekend out of town. So, but yeah,
So do
Sure.
we need to ask an official letter to the council or what do we do?
I would reach out to them and just see if any of them are interested.
okay, so inquire with council members. I'm trying to take some notes of things we need to do.
So I think we need to set up a meeting so we can do some planning.
Okay.
I know that you can get it ready in the parking lot there by the football field. That's usually what they've done. In the past, I know we went up to Hope Church and we put floats together up there too. So there's different places that you can do it. But if we're gonna have flowers and,
Were you wanting to vote on it, or are you just all in agreement?
Shall we do an official vote if we want to do
Sure,
this?
yeah,
Okay, can I
Yeah.
entertain a motion?
yeah. I make a motion that we vote for acceptance to the holiday sports, the parade float. Whether we want to participate in that or not.
Okay,
I second the motion.
okay.
Yes,
And all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes,
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Nobody. All right.
Cool.
So it's official. We have voted that we are going to participate in the Sportsman's Holiday Parade.
Yes.
So a few more details then.
You need to probably contact the chamber because they usually,
Right.
there's an application
We have to do
process.
registration.
So you can get your float number and
And then
there's
where
that.
we line up. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think Wally was telling me, that he had contacted them. But yeah, we'll have to keep doing that. There might be a small fee, $25 or something. Do we have to get permission for that, Angela, for the money? Because there is, I think there is a small fee to.
So this is something you guys are doing individually.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, we'll have to have a conversation just about supplies being used and whatnot, so.
Okay. Wally should be back. This is Wednesday, Thursday. So I'll get in touch with him and because mostly we got to start with the registration.
Right.
So, and I don't want to go do it if
And
it's
I-
already done.
And I believe it's open now, the
yeah.
registration, so
And then,
have a meeting to plan it.
we do need a little work group meeting between now and then.
Excuse me, Chairman, is that on Saturday, the parade?
The parade is on Saturday, July 12th.
I've already previously committed to the museum on that day.
So you'll be in the parade for the museum?
No.
Oh.
I'll be working at the
You'll be
museum
working
yard
at the
sale.
museum.
We have
Oh,
a yard
gotcha.
sale there.
Okay.
And so we'll just have, I know we'll have to have a lot of maps of not park things, but we can talk about that later. Because usually what you do is you walk, a few people walk, a few people carry the banner, a few people pass out
Mhm.
stuff. So
Mhm. So we've really only got 1, 2, 3 weeks before that event. So possible that we could get together and do some planning next Wednesday.
sure.
Can we get a small room here, Angela, just to?
Do you guys know what time?
It's kind of do our normal time, 8:30?
Sure.
Okay.
Next Wednesday?
Yeah.
And then just have Wally get the application.
Yeah.
I will send out a meeting invite to you all.
Okay.
I know some of you can't open them, but it's easier if I put you all on there.
Okay. All right. And
Does Candy get the invite too?
I will
Yeah.
add her to it.
Okay.
yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
you're the flower child.
Because she's gonna have the flowers. Okay. I think we can put it together fairly quickly. I think
Yeah.
the important thing will be having enough signage to identify who we are and what we've got going on. And we do have, since I'm picking up our totes with our flags and
Mhm.
all that stuff, have all that stuff handy. Okay, let's go with that. And I'll look to Wally since he kind of started the process for registration. So when I hear back from him, then hopefully he can make next Wednesday because he's got the truck and trailer.
That's right.
Yeah, that'll be kind of key. Okay, fun. I think it'll be fun. Be something different for us.
Yeah.
The next event that we talked about last month was doing some type of event
Covered bridge.
for the covered bridge like we've done in the past. And
For July 20th or 26th.
26.
Wow.
Yeah, late. But before the jamboree.
Right.
But I don't think we got much further on just kind of a general idea. Oh, the 5K run, and we don't have Scott here. Scott was going to be kind of our key person if we could do that.
That's all. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Mhm.
But he knows how to do it. Sometimes what it looks like a lot of work to one of us looks like somebody's like,
Yeah.
piece of cake.
Yeah. So kind of without Wally and Scott, especially, I don't know if we're on track with that.
Right.
So, and I,
Right after the parade.
You mostly just
Yeah.
kind of talked about ideas. What I will do also, if you're set on that date and when you're doing it, I will reach out to the Jamboree and make sure they know that they can't set anything up that day.
yeah.
They're not supposed to start setting up till that Monday following
Okay.
that, but sometimes they'll start doing prep work, so I will make sure they know that they can't go in there that day.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe your meeting next Wednesday, if everybody's
We
there,
should-
you can add that
yeah.
to it too.
Let's do that. Yeah, just to catch up and get some more info from Scott. Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Scott since our last meeting on that one.
He's
so.
busy.
He is busy. He is busy. Yeah. And there's, okay, so that takes us through June events, July events, and our roundtable discussion. I'll add health fair because that's our August event. And Bob did sign us up for that. And we talked about this last month. It's on the 16th in the morning. And that's also the same day as the rodeo, which is the kickoff of having a rodeo in Sweet Home again. So, but that should work out okay because health fair is in the morning.
92.
92?
That's what I have down.
92? Yeah. Yeah.
July 16th.
July 16th. Yep.
No, August 16th.
Oh, sorry. August. Another thing in July.
I was wondering why it was
Yeah,
on
and
Wednesday.
The health fair is pretty easy. Nancy and I have done that many years. And it's just a matter of kind of setting up our booth. I do have some different handouts in there that are more focused on health and being outside and kind of that type of slant on health and wellness, utilizing the outdoors and open space and things like that. So
after safety fair this weekend, if you want to take an inventory of the supplies that are in there, and then that way I can order before the health fair.
Yeah.
Or whatever the next event
Yeah.
is. We have a lot of events. So
we
just
do
let me
have a
know.
lot of events. I knew we have enough frisbees and kind of fun stuff for outdoors things to use for the safety fair. And then health fair, I was trying to hoard our kind of pencils and our rulers and our small items that go into the kids' backpacks that they get that day. So it's more focused on a back to school. So, but I will, I'll do an inventory on all that to make sure we can get through our summer.
And
All right.
when you're ready, I actually have a list of things under roundtable that kind of came up this last week. So-
Yes, I am ready to, unless we have anything else that we can do right now under new business, we'll kind of pick that up and do our planning at our next work group meeting next week.
Right.
Does that sound good?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're on to roundtable. So I know Angela has something.
I have
One thing, it's just a question. So the racquetball court, is it still being used?
We have memberships to it. Mhm.
Because I know our church, we do pickleball. I don't, but do people use it pickleball in there too? Is it just racquetball?
I know, some people have mentioned it's not really set up for pickleball, but people kind of utilize it for that. Sometimes they'll use the tennis court outside
Yes.
to kind of pickleball, even though it's not the
Right.
same size court, but people have. So at least I've been told. I don't witness it, but
So how do you guys advertise for that building?
we don't really have advertise. It's on our
Word of
website with under the Park and Rec that for the racquetball court membership. So, and then whoever has a membership, I send out a letter in January as a renewal.
So I'm just asking kind of for Ashley and Tyson. So how much is the membership?
I have to look. I think
It's okay.
it depends on. I'll look and I'll send it to you. I don't
Okay.
know it by heart, and it's prorated
Okay.
based on when you sign up.
All right. Be kind of fun for them, especially in the winter.
Hmm.
Get them out of the house from through doing the pickleball.
Mhm. Yeah, I can send that out to you.
It for me.
Hmm.
So far, yes.
Nothing.
Okay,
Angela,
so
you
just a
have
couple
a list?
things. One thing I actually have a list, but this just to bring up. So you guys do a lot of events, which I think is great. However, when it comes to funding from the city and city involvement, we have to stay within your scope of work. So Arbor Day is actually in your scope of work. The things like the Harvest Festival, you guys volunteer. But much beyond that is not actually in your scope and your duties. And so when you're thinking about doing all these events, you have to keep that in mind that we may not be able to participate when it comes to funding or different things like that. So I think it's great that you're in the community and you want to, help support the Park and Tree Committee. But just keep that in mind when you're thinking about doing events.
So then you mean like the fee for like the parade, we'd pay the
Correct.
$25 ourselves?
Correct.
Okay.
Movies in the Park was last Friday. It was a little chilly, but it was actually, I've never seen the movie, so Luca was a pretty cute movie. So it was successful. Sherry Gregory, they come and they do the snacks, which is great. The next one is the Goonies, and it's the 40th anniversary.
Oh,
So that we'll be doing a couple extra things for that. So that one should be fun. That one is July 18th, I think. Let me bring up my calendar and I can tell you. Maybe I can bring up my calendar and tell you. Yes, it's July 18th will be the next one. So that's a lot of fun if you've never been to one. And if you're ex-gen, The Goonies is just, our theme movie pretty much is what I consider it. Also, and I'll let Greg talk a little bit more because I haven't seen everything they've done. So right now, the South Sandium Watershed Council and the city are doing a restoration project on Ames Creek on the other side of Sankey Park on the school side, as part of a DEQ project. So there's going to be some pretty exciting work being done there. It's for kind of a water quality project, and I know they've done some, so I'll let Greg take over that part of it.
No, you kind of already hit a lot of it. A couple years ago, or a year and a half, our wastewater plant was fined $22,000 and some change. And instead of paying that fine, I negotiated with DEQ to do what they call a supplemental environmental project where we can do some watershed restoration or something that benefits creeks or the river. And so we got with Santiam, got with Angela and Santiam Water Council, and they put together a plan. We submitted that and was approved. It is a multi-year project. It probably take 3-4 years. Takes a lot of aggressive mowing, spraying. Also, we're going to be blanketing some of the invasive grasses that are there and blackberries. If you know this area, it used to be the pond before they removed the dam. So once the water all removed, it's still kind of some of the area is marshy. But there is an island in there and it's just completely overgrown. So we've already have equipment in there. We've mowed everything. We're starting to cut back all the overgrown brush and trees and trying to get down all the debris there's a lot in there. And once we get it cleaned out, we're then come this October or late September, we're going to blanket that whole pond, the floor of that, and that blanket material is going to sit on there for a year. The banks and other areas where the blackberries, we will be aggressively spraying. Once that occurs, we'll come back and hit it again, and then we remove that. We come back after a year, we remove that blanket and we start doing some planting and other things of species that are native to Oregon. So the idea is that we don't have blackberry seeds, grass seeds that are not native getting into Ames Creek and floating downstream and populating other waterways and sides of the creeks. And so the project is around $17,000, $18,000. I still had to pay about a $4,700 fine to DEQ on that. But if you see that occurring, it's going to be a multi-year project. Kind of that same principle, if we were to remove and start looking at ivy, it would take that to really eliminate, and it would be an expensive cost. So anyway, that kind of adds to that discussion a little bit, but you just can't just go up there and spray, especially something that's that invasive. So
in this area, and we don't talk about it a lot, but one of the other invasives is called reed canary grass, and that's what's covering that, which is why doing the blanketing, we worked with the Watershed Council to kind of come up with a solution because it comes right back just like ivy does, just like blackberry does. And so because of the amount of it in that area, they came up with a great solution to kind of try to get it controlled before they go in and put natives back in there. So and that entire area was pretty much coated in canary grass.
So what is the material that you're using to the fabric, or what is it?
I will get back with you.
I'm just curious.
He used a term and kind of explained it, and that's not my forte, but it's basically a material that you can put down that's some sort of product that can help hinder the growth of that once we've actually mowed it down right before we put it on. We've already done it, but we'll.
It's kind of like a commercial version of weed
Road
fabric, kind of.
or
Yeah,
weed
I
fabric.
think is what it
But
is.
the idea is going to choke it off and kill it.
And you're going to leave it there for a year, so
A year. Yeah.
and that avoids having to use herbicide there around the water in
Yeah.
marshy areas.
I was out there Monday walking the property and seeing all the cleaning that we did, and I didn't realize how much viable space we have there. And some of it's marshy, but some of it isn't. And once we get this under control down the road and we were able to maybe put some walkways and stuff, there's an island in the center of on the other side of that that could be a
Used.
great spot for a bench and people to hang out and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of encouraged if we can get this under control because it's been nothing but a overgrown
Yeah.
mess since the pond went away. And so,
Yeah.
out of some bad came some good. And so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how this works out.
Yeah, so that'd be fun.
That's exciting.
And then one other kind of sad announcement is due to health reasons, Bob has resigned. So we do now have a park position open. And so we also will need to vote on a vice chair, but we discussed it this morning, maybe waiting till Wally's back to do that. So, we all wish Bob the best and through all this medical treatments that he's going on, but
So with that, is he still going to be able to do the health fair? We don't know.
He talked to me and he's got us signed up. Whether or not he'll be there, I don't know. So,
We'll find out.
so I tried to talk him into hanging out with us more, and
Sad.
I think he'll engage with us, just not officially and with the schedule on the committee. So, but anyway, we will need a vice chair, so everybody be thinking about that, please. And we'll tackle that, put that on our agenda for next meeting. And then we'll also need a new,
Remember.
then we'll have a new vacant
Yeah.
spot, right?
yeah, we'll have to open that up
Yeah.
and get that advertised. So that is all I had on my list of things that
That's good. I was thinking about that, yeah.
What's
How-
that?
How do we recognize Bob for his work here with us?
we can take it. There is a table in Sankey Park
Right.
that is a plaque dedicated to him. There-
Okay.
They
That's a great
did
big
put that
one.
in there. So, I don't know.
How
Yeah,
about,
it's in the plaza.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I
It's a
thought.
very large table.
Yeah.
But how about I like your idea. I can pick up a card and we can all write a note for him.
Mhm.
And I can bring it when we all get together next week for a little work meeting.
Yeah.
Sound good?
And other stuff. Maybe just as we can get together and do a potluck with them or something, or take them out to dinner or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. bring them to the
retirement
party.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. Okay.
So maybe also, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
with that, we could let him be recognized at a city council meeting or something too. Is that possible, Angela?
I don't run the city council meetings, so that would be it.
I mean, for all of his years and all the
Mhm.
things that he's done.
I
for
can
us.
talk to the mayor when we do agenda review.
I think that would be good. Is that your
Anything
phone?
else? That was our cue. That was our cue. Any other business roundtable items? Okay. Well,
See you next Wednesday.
guess we will formally adjourn our meeting and we'll get together next Wednesday. And I will make sure Wally's got everything in hand and can be there with us as well.
When I get back to my desk, I'll send out that meeting invite. So
Thank you.
Right. And I have to bail to class.
Oh, I need to